The wait is finally over. Mountaineer football 1988 is finally here. Arguably the most anticipated season in West Virginia University's football history. Hello again, everyone. I'm Tony Caridi, joined by former Mountaineer John Garcia, and we look forward to bringing you all the play-by-play action of today's season opener. Don Nealon looking to become the school's all-time winningest coach against his alma mater, the Bowling Green Falcons. You know, John, everyone's been talking about this season for the Mountaineers. They're going to have to remember one thing. You can never overlook an opponent, especially a team like Bowling Green.
Tony, that's an excellent point, because these are tough Ohio kids. Bowling Green is noted for going out and getting the 220-pound individual who's very strong and really a heck of an enthusiastic player. Coach Nealon's been around the block a few times. He's been on the other side of Bowling Green, and there's no way that he's going to let that happen today.
He pulled off some big upsets as the head coach of Bowling Green. Teams like Syracuse, Brigham Young, and Purdue fell to Nealon while he was with the Falcons. So he's been stressing one game on the schedule, and that's against Bowling Green. What can you expect to see? Well, the Falcons have experience at quarterback and their two receiver positions. Rich Dacken is their quarterback. John, what can we expect to see?
Dacken, from my discussion with the coaches, is a very good quarterback. Good arm, average speed. What we'll probably see is the ball somewhere in the air, somewhere in the vicinity of 40 or 50 times today. In the scouting reports that West Virginia has watched, we've only seen 2 sweeps. So what we're going to see is a lot of isolation, sprint draw, because they have those two big fullback tailback combination, 225 pounds, 230 pounds. So I anticipate a lot of isolation, sprint draw, and rock'em sock'em football, Tony.
The anticipation level is at an all-time high. West Virginia against Bowling Green as the 1988 season is underway at Mountaineer Field. Welcome back to Mountaineer Field in Morgantown. Over 50,000 on hand for West Virginia and Bowling Green, the season opener for 1988. The ceremonial coin toss taking place at midfield. Bowling Green has won the toss. You know, John, Don Nealon came to this program in 1980. He had a rebuilding job to do, and it seems as though the rebuilding effort has come to an all-time high. This year, 15 separate polls have ranked West Virginia in their top 20. One going as far as ranking West Virginia as the #1 team in the nation. That was Newsday magazine, and of course, Beano Cook ranked the Mountaineers #1 in a nationally televised feature earlier this week. And so, as mentioned, the anticipation going into this season has never been seen before. There's a look at Major Harris, who a lot of the preseason hope is put upon his shoulders. And why not? What a tremendous freshman season Harris had. Named the Freshman Quarterback of the Year by Sporting News.
Tony, it's kind of ironic that Coach Nealon's record here at West Virginia is very similar to his record at Bowling Green. Here at West Virginia, he's 58, 35, and 1. His 9 years at Bowling Green, he was 53, 35, and 4. And both of the staffs are friends, and Coach Perry, who coached Mo Ankney, and Coach Nealon at Bowling Green. So it should be a lot of fun.
Fun it is, and the Mountaineer fans are on their feet. Bowling Green won the toss, and they have elected to receive. Reggie Thornton is the deep man for Bowling Green. Charlie Bauman, the senior from Erie, Pennsylvania, is ready to get it underway. They're standing on their feet here at Mountaineer Field. Bauman's kick is a short one, taken by the up man at the 12-yard line, and he will be called dead right to rights.
One thing you'll notice this year, Tony, is that Charlie will be kicking from the middle of the field. Coach Wallace, who is in charge of special teams this year, is going to put the ball in the middle field. That way the kicking team has the option of kicking that ball left or right.
Scott Lindsey was the up man taking that kickoff and could not catch his footing, and he's down at the 12-yard line. So the Falcons will start off with some poor field position. Rich Dacken is their quarterback, #11. Junior out of Cairo, Ohio. Across the front, it's a young offensive line for Bowling Green. First play of the game goes to the tailback, Mike McGee. Chris Parker, the only returning defender on the front line for West Virginia, there to make the stop.
That's exactly what West Virginia has to do, Tony. Don't give these kids any confidence. Shut them down early and go through the game and keep punching as much as we can.
No gain on the play. It'll be 2nd down and 10. Falcons will split the backs on 2nd down. They had started off the game in the I formation. Back in with his first pass. That ball pops loose, incomplete. Looking for the tight end, Kyle Huckman. And on the defensive coverage, Darrell Whitmore, a redshirted freshman out of Front Royal, Virginia.
You know, Darrell's our great talent, Tony. He's been drafted twice by the Toronto Blue Jays, and he's kind of in the mold of free safeties of West Virginia in the past, Timmy Agee and Jerry Holmes.
3rd down and 10. And the Falcons send out double receivers, Ron Hurd and Mo Ankney. Whistle blows and the officials have called timeout. Well, the officials comes over towards the West Virginia sideline. Talking to Don Nealon. Apparently they've got a problem with the play clock down in the far end zone.
What we'll see today out of Dakin is a lot of five route receivers, and the majority of his passes have been out in the flat, and so we should see.
The 25-second clock is not operating. We will take it on the field.
So you just heard it, 25-second clock will be operated on the field. They had that same problem during one of the scrimmages back in August, and apparently it has not been completely fixed. So they'll keep the 25-second clock. The Mountaineers with a chance to make their first big defensive stand. It is 3rd down and 10 from the 12-yard line. That's exactly the spot where Scott Lindsey fell to his knees on the opening kickoff. Back in with over 3,400 yards in his first 2 seasons at Bowling Green. Pressure is on. And Dakin brought to the ground by Ronaldo Turnbull, the outside linebacker from St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands. He's the Mountaineers' designated pass rusher, and you can see why. 6 feet 5 inches tall, 234 pounds, John. He's got the perfect athletic ability to pursue that quarterback, and he got all of Dakin there.
That's one of Coach Shaw's objectives, is go after the quarterback and don't sit back on our heels.
Chris Shale, transfer out of Tennessee, bobbles that kick. The ball is loose, and a touchdown for the Mountaineers. Willie Edwards.
I talked to Coach Wallace this week, and he said that on punt returns, they're going to give a 10-man rush every time to try and put more pressure in the punter. And I'll be darned if they didn't make a big play.
It took the Mountaineers just 1 minute and 17 seconds to get on the board. It was a bad snap. Willie Edwards right on top of that ball. Darrell Whitmore was in there on the pressure for West Virginia. He made the contact with the punter Shale. The extra point attempt by Bauman is good, and West Virginia leads it 7-0. 13:43 to go here in the first quarter of play. Well, the deep snap man for Bowling Green is Scott Beckley. He's been doing it now for 3 seasons, and on that particular snap, he just didn't get it to Shale in time. Had the ball bobbled. Willie Edwards came to pounce on the football. Good pressure in from the corners. West Virginia alertly made the contact. As soon as that ball is loose, they can make the contact with the punter, and that's what they did. And Edwards jumps on it to give West Virginia the 7-0 lead.
Anytime that punter stands in the end zone, he is always a little bit edgy. Maybe with a 10-man rush, he did get a little nervous, and it did cause the bad snap.
So the Mountaineers take the early lead, and we were talking at the onset that Bowling Green emotionally has to come into this game and has to play well just to tell themselves, yeah, we can play with these guys. That's exactly what they didn't want to happen right there.
That's right, Tony. The more confidence you give these Ohio players, and it goes into the fourth quarter, it would be a dogfight. What we needed to do was go in and shut them down early.
Charlie Bauman ready to kick it off again. As mentioned, just 1 minute and 17 seconds into the game, Mountaineers on the board. Bauman's kick this time, a line drive into the end zone, and it won't be returned. That was Reggie Thornton back there. Bauman's first kick was rather short, coming to the 12-yard line, but this one will be brought back out to the 20. This copyrighted broadcast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by West Virginia University through its Mountaineer Sports Network solely for the entertainment of our viewing audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, or other use of the description and accounts of this game without the express written permission of the Mountaineer Sports Network is prohibited. The announcers on this broadcast are employed by the Mountaineer Sports Network. References to products by the announcers are paid commercial messages. So the Bowling Green Falcons will try it again. First down and 10 from the 20-yard line. They had no success, losing 6 yards on their first possession. Dakin. Incomplete. Looking over there for his split end. Ron Hurd, Alvoid Mays in on the coverage. Mays is one of 2 new starters in the West Virginia defensive backfield this season. Came in last year as a redshirted freshman from Pratt Community College, and he has earned himself a starting position at the left cornerback position. The other new starter is Darrell Whitmore, who was in on that block of the punt that brought West Virginia their first touchdown. Second and 10 from the 20. And a big hit there by Chris Parker. Ball carrier was Mike McGee, and the Whitehall, Pennsylvania native. Chris Parker was right in there. Parker
West Virginia in their base defense, Tony, and he's just a tough kid. He's a 400-pound bench presser, and he's a legitimate pro prospect.
Parker said before the season began, I feel like the old man on defense. He's the only one of the 3 defensive linemen who made it back this year. Brad Hunt is gone, along with David Grant. 1-yard loss, third down and 11. Incomplete. Out of bounds. Bo Orlando, Alvoid Mays. Back on the coverage. Ron Hurd again, the intended receiver. So the Mountaineers hold again.
That's the defense's objective. Go in 3 plays, hold them, and put a clamp on everything.
Chris Shale, no doubt, remembers punt number 1. And the Mountaineers do too. They line up 10 men along the line.
We'll see this look every punt now, Tony.
Shale lined up back at his 9-yard line. This one a quick snap back. Grantis Bell deep to return for the Mountaineers from the 41. Bell breaks free at midfield. The punter Shale over there to help out as Grantis Bell brought it up 9 yards. Tony McCorvey made the initial hit to bring Bell out of bounds. So West Virginia's offense has their first chance on the field. 12 minutes and 42 seconds to go. First quarter of play. The Mountaineers leading it 7-0. They spot the ball at the 42-yard line in Bowling Green territory. Major Harris, 1,200 yards through the air a season ago. Craig Taylor and A.B. Brown, the backfield, and A.B. Brown thrown back. A 3-yard loss. Derek Carr, 6'5" junior defensive tackle out of Detroit, Michigan, there to wrap him up. One of the key members of the Bowling Green defense not in there today, Charles Dotson, inside linebacker and the second leading tackler from last year's club, is out of the game with a back injury. That's forced the Bowling Green coaches to move over one of their outside linebackers, Larry Lambright, into the inside field. Here's A.B. Brown. Across the 40-yard line, closing in on the 35. Kyle Kramer, honorable mention All-American free safety, number 21, in to make the stop. There's a look at West Virginia's new defensive coordinator, Bob Shaw, who replaces Dennis Brown. Shaw has brought a very positive influence to this West Virginia defensive unit, focusing on aggressive play. They want the strip, they want the turnover. 6-yard pickup by A.B. It's third down and 4. On the option, Harris will keep. Major to the 30, and that's a first down for the Mountaineers.
That's just a base option, Tony, with Major coming down the line and looking for the seam. And one thing that Bowling Green's going to have a hard time, their free safety, Kyle Kramer, is going to have a hard time whether or not run support or try to play that deep pass.
That's what Don Nealon has wanted. He wants the multifaceted offense, and now he's got it. He can come out of the I backfield, single backfield, the option look, the option pass. First down. This is Craig Taylor pushing ahead through the middle of the line. Toy Eason, the outside linebacker, makes the initial hit. There's Eason, 88.
You know, Craig's a good, strong back. Last year, he was not tackled for a loss.
Yeah, he carried it 77 times and did not lose a yard on any carry. They spot the ball at the 26. A 4-yard pickup by Taylor. It's 2nd down and 6. Jamie Lamont in as a receiver for the Mountaineers. Harris with that option drop. Into the end zone he goes. Intended over there for Reggie Rembert. Just a little bit too high. Tony McCorvey, the left cornerback there. Rembert is the junior college wide receiver. Makes his home in Okeechobee, Florida. He has really impressed the coaches for the Mountaineers. 4.3 speed in the 40-yard dash. He was a junior college All-American a season ago.
Thing about it is, Tony, he's 6'6".
He can get up there. 3rd down and 6. Harris again with the option look. A.B. Brown can't hold it. Harris can. And on determination and second effort, Harris brings the ball up to the 27-yard line.
That was just a little miscommunication between Major and A.B.
Charlie Bauman comes in. He'll spot the ball at the 34-yard line. This will be a 44-yard attempt for Bauman. Season ago, he was 14 of 20 in the field goal department. From 44 yards away, he hits it. As the Mountaineers take a 10-0 lead with exactly 10 minutes to go in the first quarter of play. Charlie Bauman with a fist in the air as he bangs one home from 44 yards away. That ties his career long in 4 seasons at West Virginia. He has kicked one farther than that, a 55-yarder in the annual gold and blue scrimmage, but that's the longest in a regular season game. It ties the mark. From 44 yards away, Bauman hits it, and West Virginia goes on top 10-0. This is the kind of a start that Don Nealon and his club had been hoping for.
There's no question about that. And getting back to Charlie, it seems like Charlie's been in the blue and gold forever now. 4 years as a starter, and he's been kicking basically from his first day on the field.
Mountaineers scoring 3 on 6 plays, covering 16 yards, using 2 minutes and 42 seconds up, culminating with the Bauman field goal. This is Charlie's 3rd kickoff of the game, and we've only played 5 minutes. Coming to the near side, Reggie Thornton again will let it take a hop, and Bowling Green will start from their 20-yard line. So Bauman had a short one on his first kick, and the next 2 he has put into the end zone. That's something that he's wanted to work on. He said that he's pretty happy with his field goal kicking, but he wants to improve the length of his kickoffs, and he's done that.
One thing you'll notice, Tony, that the first kick was to the right, and the second kick was to the left. So it's a little easier for him to kick to the left, so you'll see that ball go a little deeper than the right-hand side. But that gives West Virginia the flexibility of going either way.
Falcons have done little of nothing in their first 2 possessions. Dakin again will try to get something going here. Tailback is Mike McGee. Again, they try the inside of the West Virginia defensive front. You mentioned that they very rarely run to the outside. Why?
Basically because of Dakin's speed. He can't get to the perimeter, and he's more of a drop-back type player. Those 2 big, strong fullbacks are going to hunk it up in there for you. That play, Chris Parker just made a tremendous play and just punched the heck out of that other guard.
3-yard pickup at 2nd down and 7. Dakin has his man. That is the fullback, Sean Daniels. Alvoid Mays and Chris Herring converging right up there to the first down marker. And that'll be a first down for Bowling Green, their first first down of the afternoon.
Dakin on a pro drop here. He scrambles to the outside and sees the underneath pattern. And West Virginia converges on the ball.
Deron Ellis coming up to make that play just before the ball was caught, slipped on the new surface here at Mountaineer Field. First down and 10 from the 30-yard line. That's Reggie Thornton in motion. And Thornton, the intended receiver, just a little bit too high. Darrell Whitmore, the free safety, over there covering for West Virginia. A season ago, Reggie Thornton led Bowling Green in receptions with 47. Had quite an afternoon against the Penn State Nittany Lions in the season opener from a year ago. Finished up the ball game with 256 yards total offense, at 152 yards in catches and 104 in kickoff returns. But so far this afternoon, the kickoff returns have been sailing over his head.
You know, they have great speed in the wide receivers with Hurd and Thornton. Hurd runs a 4.25 40.
2nd and 10. They go to the tailback. That's Mike McGee, and again they try the middle of the line. And again, the West Virginia defense closes up quickly. Mike Fox and Scott Summits, 2 new members of that West Virginia defensive front. There's Summits out of Davidsville, Pennsylvania. He replaces David Grant.
He was switched to nose guard last spring and has made a good transition. He's a good, tough, hard-nosed player.
Dakin struggling so far as the throwing goes. 1 of 5 for just 7 yards. 3rd down and 8, so another obvious passing situation. Pressure is on. And that ball was nearly intercepted there and then re-caught. Coming over was Basil Proctor. Transfer from the University of Miami. They were looking for Thornton. And Proctor made the touch on that ball, and it almost came conveniently into the arms of Thornton. Good pressure here by Robert Pickett, John.
Pickett took a little dip to the inside, and we lost contain momentarily, but a great play by the linebacker on the underneath.
1 more yard of sideline there, and Reggie Thornton would have had himself a circus catch. Brings up 4th down and 8. Grantis Bell waiting at his 25. This is Chris Shale. Good job there by the WVU punt team. Almost came in there to make the block. Bell breaks free. Again, Grantis Bell brings the ball into Bowling Green territory.
Already we have seen a big improvement in the West Virginia special teams. Number 1, Grantis Bell in the same mold of great punt returners the West Virginia past, Fulton Walker and Willie Drury.
Bell had a 28-yard return on his first punt, and he takes off here again. Grantis featured in this week's edition of Sports Illustrated's college football preview. He, along with teammate Calvin Phillips, featured as 2 receivers who have left the state of Florida to come play up east. Mountaineers from the Bowling Green 42, A.B. Brown. Rolls over the 46-yard line. Larry Lambright, inside linebacker, along with Derek Carr, there to make the stop. A.B. Brown said last year was the most frustrating season he's ever played. He was bothered by injuries throughout and never really gained his total confidence, just the feeling that a running back needs. He says this is his year.
He was honorable mention All East last year, and he has a very low center of gravity, very hard to tackle.
A.B. to the left. Has his hold. And Brown rolls it to the 30-yard line. That's a first down for the Mountaineers.
He kind of reminds you of the little back from New Jersey with the New England Giants. I'm sorry, the New Jersey Giants.
Joe Morris.
Morris, right, with that low center of gravity, but Brown is a little bit bigger and stronger.
Craig Taylor throwing a key block there. Give Brown the room. First down and 10 for the Mountaineers from the Bowling Green 30. West Virginia leads it 10-0 with 7:09 and counting first quarter of play. Harris on the pitch, and here comes the reverse. It's Reggie Rembert with room at the 20, down to the 10-yard line. As mentioned, Reggie Rembert has tremendous speed, a 4.340.
Just a big guy, 6'6", over 200 pounds, and we'll see a lot of Reggie this fall.
That brings it to the 10, so a 20-yard run on the reverse for Reggie Rembert. Quickly has moved himself in to a key position here on the West Virginia offensive unit. Calvin Phillips in motion. First down from the 10-yard line, and it's Taylor to the 5. Doug Van Fossen, the inside linebacker, and Dwayne Crenshaw, the nose guard. there to make the stop. Taylor says he does not want to be recognized as a running fullback. He says, let the tailbacks take all the excitement and all the attention, because when my turn comes, they don't expect me to be able to run it, and I can pop free. Last year, he averaged over 4 yards per carry.
He's a 110% team player.
Here's the option pitch, and Brown has the room and the score. West Virginia, with their second touchdown of the ball game, builds up a 16-0 lead with 6 minutes and 9 seconds to go here in the first quarter of play. Touchdown for A.B. Brown.
They've been featuring the toss sweep here the last few plays. Major Harris comes down the line, runs the option, and it's just a foot race to the end zone.
Free safety, Terry Wilson had Brown in front of him, but A.B. just used the field and cut it off into the corner. Well, this is everything that everyone expected from West Virginia's offense so far. The extra point by Bauman is good. The Mountaineers lead it 17-0. 6:09 to go. Boy, I tell you, Bowling Green has just got to be shocked. What do they say to themselves at this point? It'll be a tough one. West Virginia on top by 17. Senior A.B. Brown from Salem, New Jersey gives West Virginia a 17-0 lead with a 4-yard run. You know, this West Virginia offensive line all the way across is seniors, 5-year seniors, and they're just basically pushing the Bowling Green defensive line away. 5 plays, 42 yards in 2 minutes and 3 seconds.
It takes years to develop great offensive linemen, and all these guys are over 400-pound benches, all seniors, so we ought to see a much improved offensive line this year.
There's Reggie Thornton, who's hoping that he'll get a chance to return a kickoff today. 2 of Bauman's 3 kicks have gone over his head and into the end zone. Again, Charlie kicks it to the left side of the field, and Thornton will get a chance from the 5. As a hole. And there to make the stop, Darren Fulton. Came up and under and flipped him over.
The kickoff's team objective is to hold that kickoff return team inside the 25. So they didn't meet their objective that time.
Dave Lockwood also in on the stop. Lockwood, a senior from Media, Pennsylvania, has seen action over the past several seasons for the Mountaineers. Comes into this game as the backup to Willie Edwards at right cornerback.
Kickoff, refused. First down, Bowling Green.
You do not see that penalty off. Offsides against the return team. Penalty is declined. There's Dave McMichael, and we mentioned that senior offensive line the Mountaineers have.
Coach McMichael's a Bowling Green graduate, so he's kind of got mixed emotions today. I asked him that, and he said, hey, when the gun goes off, I'll bleed blue and gold.
He knows who signs the paycheck. This is Mike McGee, the tailback. Cross to the 39-yard line. McGee was the starting tailback for Bowling Green last season. You see him there without his shoe. Was the starting tailback, then ran into a problem with fumbles. Committed 5 fumbles, and head coach Mo Ankney said that's it for Mike McGee, and saw very little action after that point. He does have breakaway speed. Has 2 school records for runs from scrimmage, has a 93-yarder for a touchdown, and also ran one 89 yards last season against Ball State.
Bowling Green's running game has suffered a little bit in the last year because they are so limited with their people's ability. McGee with 313 yards last year, and Viscount with 7 yards last year.
McGee's run enough for the first down as they bring it up to the 40-yard line. 5 minutes and 49 seconds to go here in the first quarter of play. Over 50,000 on hand at Mountaineer Field for the opening game of the season. Dakin, as you can see, has not had success so far through the air. This is Charles Edgerton. Reserve tailback coughs up the football. That's what West Virginia's been wanting, but they'll rule it down. Throughout spring ball, West Virginia's defensive philosophy has been strip the ball, cause the turnover. Edgerton coughed it up there after hitting the ground, so it will be Bowling Green football.
Key Ellis makes a great play here outside on the perimeter. He just runs him down and makes a super play for an inside linebacker.
Got the hand in there to cause that strip, but he was down as the ball popped free. One of the keys the Mountaineers are stressing this season is to be ahead on the turnover ratio. When Don Nealon's clubs have done that, they've had successful teams. Dakin has his man. That's Ron Hurd at the 45-yard line in Mountaineer territory. So Bowling Green finally makes it into the West Virginia side of the field. Alvoyd Mays and Darrell Whitmore there to make the stop. Hurd has tremendous speed. There is no question about that.
What happened here is Bo Orlando was on a strong safety game. He put good pressure on the quarterback, but when you do stunt, there is a void in the defense, and that's exactly where they threw the ball.
Getting back to Hurd's speed, he's been clocked as a 4.3 40 man and finished in the top 3 in the 100 and 200 meter sprint events at the MAC championships last year. Big hit and a fumble. The ball is loose. Chris Parker making the initial hit. And they'll have to clean the pile up. Boy, Chris Parker came in from his tackle spot and really laid it on Charles Edgerton.
T. Ellis did a great job on the isolation. He really put the hammer to him on that one.
Greg Glasgow, the right guard there, to pounce on the ball. So the Mountaineers, 2 successive plays caused the ball to pop up. Bowling Green has held on. 2nd down and 9 from the WVU 44. Al Jackson has Dakin in his grasp, puts him to the turf, and Dakin now is 1 of 8 throwing. Dale Jackson, a senior out of Canton, Ohio, really began to be an impact player for this WVU unit a year ago. A strong physical guy. In the offseason, put on some weight, comes in as 244 pounds. 6'2", 244-pound senior out of Canton, Ohio.
He's master of the big play, and he reminds you of the great West Virginia linebackers over the last couple years, folks. Talley, Preston, Hathaway.
Garcia. 3rd down and 9 from the WVU 44. Obvious passing situation for the Falcons. And the ball cannot be held on there by reserve split end Ken Rankin. And the Falcons will be forced to punt again. Willie Edwards over there on the coverage. Again, the pressure was in the front of Dakin. And you mentioned that he does not have the great speed. And so when the pressure comes in on him, he does not have the ability, like a Major Harris, to scoot out of there and set himself up again. Basically a drop-back guy, and once he sees it coming at him, he's got to get rid of it or eat it.
That's exactly right. And one thing Coach Shaw has bringing with him from the USFL is a little bit of gambler in him. He's not going to sit back and play fundamental football. He's going to go after you.
Chris Schall on to punt. Bell's going to let this one bounce over his head. And West Virginia will have the touchback. They'll start off 1st and 10 from their 20-yard line. 3 minutes and 25 seconds to go, and WVU leads it 17-0. You know, this is really the poorest field position that the Mountaineers have had. They've been able to capitalize on some great punt returns by GRANTIS Bell and have started from inside Bowling Green territory. There's the Major, a sophomore out of Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
We really need a good drive here to get off our heels. You know, the score is 17-0, and the kids can become a little bit complacent. So we need a good drive to get this place pumped up again.
Delvin Phillips and GRANTIS Bell in as receivers. A.B. Brown stays in at the tailback position. This is Brown. Doug Van Fossen and Andy Maines in to make the stop. To give you an idea of how shaken up and how banged up this Bowling Green defensive unit is, going into spring practice, Andy Maines, who just made the stop there, was listed as the 7th inside linebacker. 7th inside linebacker depth-wise. Because of injuries here and there, players not coming back, he's put into a big play position. Here comes Craig Taylor. Nearly lost the football. Talk about stripping it. One of the Bowling Green defenders, Kyle Kramer, came in there to give it a whack. But Taylor holds on. 1st down for the Mountaineers.
That play's awful difficult for a middle linebacker to read because West Virginia has been showing a lot of toss sweep. And when that quarterback reverses out like that, those linebackers have a tendency to fly out of there. And that's what Taylor did. He saw the seam and did a great run.
Good block there by right tackle Milton Redwine to break it loose. 1st down for the Mountaineers from the 46-yard line. Harris goes out into the flat. He's got his tight end Keith Wynn. Wynn, the third leading receiver on last year's club with 13 catches, has really gone through a transition process at West Virginia. Started off as a wide receiver, pushed into a tight end situation because of injuries at that position, and has spent the last couple of years learning the system, building himself up, and he comes into this season weighing 218 pounds. He's 6'2", and he's the key player there for West Virginia at the tight end. They've got depth there. Adrian Moss backing him, and Point Pleasant's Daryl Mitchell will also see action. There you see number 80, Daryl Mitchell, in the ball game.
Usually when you have a wide receiver who converts to a tight end position, it's awful difficult for him to learn up to pick up the blocking skills. He has the ball catching skills, and that's one thing Keith's working on this fall.
Derek Carr's shaken up on the play. Seems to be favoring his left leg as he's helped off by the Bowling Green trainers. So Wynn goes out after the first down catch and run, and Daryl Mitchell comes in. This is his first varsity experience. Phillips in motion. And A.B. Brown with the carry. Slices his way up to the 20-yard line. He'll be shy of the 20. Mike Holmes and Kyle Kramer from the defensive back positions come up to make the stop. And I think that tells you exactly what West Virginia's able to do. They're pushing away that Bowling Green defensive front, forcing the defensive backs to come up and make the stop.
That offensive line is centered behind number 57, Kevin Koken, a 400-plus bencher, and he's been in there for a few years. They call him the quarterback of the offense.
7-yard pickup, second down and 3 from the 22. Major has his tight end. That's Daryl Mitchell to the 10-yard line. Michael Holmes, 23, to make the stop, but that's the first catch as a WVU Mountaineer for Daryl Mitchell.
He'll remember that one for a while.
You know, Mitchell came in and was a little bit taken back by the intensity of major college football. But over the past couple of years, he's grown accustomed to it, and he says, now I feel at home. Before, I felt like taking off. Here's Taylor. Touchdown. Tremendous blocking, John, by the WVU offensive line. There was a hole there left open by Kovac, Koken, and Stroya right up the middle from 9 yards away. Taylor gives West Virginia a 23-0 lead with 1:32 to go here in the first quarter. Extra point by Charlie Bauman is good, and the Mountaineers lead it 24-0. Boy, I tell you, at the onset of that offensive possession, you said West Virginia needs a long drive. That's exactly what they got. If you'll remember, they started from back at their own 20, so an 80-yard drive as West Virginia continues to dominate this one. This is exactly where the West Virginia offensive unit left off from a season ago. You know that, John? They averaged 35 points per game in their last 8 outings, and they've already built up 24 here. 1:32 to go, quarter number 1. Don't forget that Mountaineer Sports Night will come to you next Friday evening on MSN Television. Host Woody O'Hara will talk with head coach John Nealon and preview the Cal State Fullerton game. The new show, if you haven't seen it, is loaded with features and information giving fans a behind-the-scenes look at WVU football. Consult your local listings. It's Mountaineer Sports Night. Charlie Bauman's not having himself a bad scoring afternoon. Has himself a 44-yard field goal, 3 touchdown point afters, 6 points. There's Craig Taylor, senior out of Linden, New Jersey.
The thing that's amazing about Charlie is last year he had an 80% percentage of getting that field goal through the uprights. So that's almost money in the bank every time he lines up to that line of scrimmage.
He quickly made people forget, although they don't, of Paul Woodside. Woody was such a great kicker for the Mountaineers. And the year after he left, here comes Bauman, and really there has never been a decline in the productivity of that field goal position. Bauman was bothered in his sophomore year, if you'll remember, by a bad thigh pull. But he's come back, and he's doing a good job for West Virginia. From the 5-yard line, over across the 20-yard line. Bringing it up for the Falcons. That's Scott Lindsey. Lindsey this time caught his footing. If you'll remember the opening kickoff of the ball game, he made the catch and his foot slid back and his knee was touched down back at the 12-yard line. Now when you're up by 24 points, you can kick back and have yourself a drink on the sidelines. That's what Don Nealon is doing.
One thing you may want to note is number 12 on the kickoff team, Chuck Levinus, a third-team quarterback running down underneath kickoffs.
Ron Viscount, the fullback, and Mike McGee, the tailback for the Falcons. Dakin again looks at that WVU pressure. Trying to get it over there to his tailback, Mike McGee. Alvoid Mays, the best man-on-man coverage person in the West Virginia defensive backfield there. Chris Parker and Ronaldo Turnbull putting the pressure on Dakin. Dakin now 2 of 10, passing for just 19 yards.
Dale had great pressure on the Bowling Green offensive line that time. Last year, he was named defensive champion in the Cincinnati and Rutgers games.
Second and 10 from the 22. This is the fullback, Viscount. Just the first time they've gone to him this afternoon. Chris Herring, the inside linebacker out of Pueblo, Colorado, makes the stop. Chris was the leading tackler on last year's Mountaineer club. Spent the offseason back home in Colorado, but says he loves it in Morgantown.
He's a golfer and a swimmer.
His uncle Joe is the head coach of the Arena Football League's Pittsburgh Gladiators, and his dad's a head coach as well. So he comes from a football family.
How would you like to golf with him?
I'm imagining he could put some whack into it. Dakin again. Intended over there for Ron Hurd and badly thrown. That'll bring up 4th down.
Chris is my idea of a blue-collar linebacker. I mean, his socks are pulled down. He has blood on his pants. He's just a heck of a young guy.
He played as a true freshman for the Mountaineers. If you'll remember that season, for 2 years back now, he along with Lonnie Brockman were forced into action when things got low on the depth chart for the Mountaineers at linebacker.
Made that key interception last year against Penn State also.
Grantis Bell has done a great job this afternoon returning punts. 39 seconds to go in the first quarter. The Mountaineers lead at 24 to nothing. Oh! Punt by Darrell Whitmore. Darren Fulton after it, and the Mountaineers will have the ball inside the 20-yard line. Darrell Whitmore. There he is, number 11. The freshman out of Front Royal, Virginia, made the stop. And 23, Darren Fulton, back this season after being academically ineligible last year, counts down the football. The Mountaineers will have it at the 18-yard line.
Just a great individual effort by Darrell. And as Coach Nealon said, there'll be more emphasis on the special teams this year.
And so far, they've been paying big dividends. That's the second time they botched up the Bowling Green punt.
They may have to give Coach Wallace a raise after today.
From the 18, ahead to the 15-yard line. That's Undra Johnson in for his first carry this afternoon, the senior out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. Undra really finished off the last game of the regular season a year ago with a bang. In a reserve role, over 100 yards in the second half against Syracuse.
Just a fine young man, extremely talented and very quick.
Gain 3 on the play, 2nd and 7. Whistles blow as the quarter comes to an end. West Virginia leads at 24 to nothing. Well, it was the first quarter that West Virginia could have only wished for, and they got it. 24 to nothing as the Mountaineers start off this 1988 season as if they never missed a hitch. Take a look at the first quarter numbers, totally dominated by the Mountaineers. 105 yards on the ground, 37 on the pass as Harris was 2 for 3 throwing. A.B. Brown, the leading rusher for West Virginia, with 37 yards on 7 carries. So Brown continues to hold consistency as far as his average gain per carry. He comes into this season averaging 5 yards a tote. West Virginia knocking on the door once again from their 15-yard line of Bowling Green territory. 2nd down and 7. Undra Johnson pushing himself over the 10-yard line. Nose guard Dwayne Crenshaw, number 50, makes the hit along with
right cornerback Mike Holmes.
Bob Kolvac pulling around there for him. Bob is a 500-pound bench presser out of Newcastle, Pennsylvania. Played for one of the most winningest high school coaches in Pennsylvania history, Lindy Laro.
In fact, that entire West Virginia offensive line bench presses over 400 pounds apiece. First and goal from the 7, and Johnson slips down at the 5.
Tony, that's amazing. Alan Johnson has done a great job with his strength program. The first winter that Coach Nealon came here, I was a West Virginia player, and we had 2 people bench press over 400 pounds. Al told me just last week he has 34 individuals bench press 400 pounds. So that tells you how far this program has come in the last 8 years.
Had a couple of guys, in fact, because of some nagging injuries, they didn't let them go ahead and max out in their bench press. He thinks he could even have a few more. Johnson again, looking to the outside. And a good hit there. Terry Wilson coming up from his strong safety position. Lose a yard on that play. Under Johnson. Take a look at that. Very impressive. Predominantly as a reserve player at West Virginia. He's played behind John Hollifield. He's played behind A.B. Brown, and he's 10th all-time rushing for the Mountaineers. Aaron Evans now in at the fullback spot. Harris with a timing pattern. Rembert, touchdown! The junior college transfer makes an immediate impact. He had a 20-yard run on a reverse earlier in the first quarter. And now on a timing pattern, gets behind the left side cornerback, Tony McCorvey. And as you mentioned earlier, at 6 feet 6 inches tall, you can do a whole lot. Took it right over the top of his head.
Coach Nealon's been running this play for about 8 years now. And what it is, you just put that wide corner and that flanker one-on-one, and all it is a talent contest.
Mountaineers lead at 31-0, 13:40 to go in the first half. When everything goes right, everything falls into place, and Mountaineers at this point cannot seem to do anything wrong. They have been, if you can say it, perfect. There's a look at Reggie Rembert. 6-yard touchdown pass he just hauled in, his first touchdown as a Mountaineer. A junior college All-American a season ago. Makes his hometown in Lake Okeechobee, Florida. One of 17 players on the Mountaineer roster this season from the state of Florida. Boy, John, what do you do if you're Bowling Green at this point? That high emotional level that you had coming in thinking upset, I'm sure has dissipated to an all-time low. What are you thinking at this point?
Play. That's about it, Tony. I mean, the score's 31-0 in the second quarter. It's awful difficult. They'll have to go back in at halftime and regroup and get back to fundamental football.
Mountaineers use up 5 plays on the last scoring drive. If you'll remember, it was set up by the blocked punt of Darrell Whitmore. So the special teams put the West Virginia offense in good position, and Major Harris and crew converted. 31-0 WVU. Bauman goes to the far side, and this is Reggie Thornton from the 5. Up across the 25-yard line. That's just about his average return. A season ago, he averaged 20 yards a return. And yes, it's hot out there for WVU senior co-captain Kevin Koken. He'll go with the double ice treatment.
Is that called on the rocks?
First and 10, Bo Orlando comes out of the lineup, and Lawrence Drumgoole will come in at the strong safety position. Rich Dakin has completed just 2 passes this afternoon. Up ahead to the 30-yard line. Eric Lester there to make the stop. Ball was hauled in there by tailback Mike McGee.
It seems like Eric's been around here forever. He's just a tough kid from Cleveland. He's one of the second leading tackler in his high school's history behind Tom Cousineau. Hey. He's also a heck of a softball player in the summertime also.
Is that right?
Yeah.
He's been plagued by injuries at WVU. Always seems to get banged up. And that's one of the reasons that they made the move of Theron Ellis to the inside position, because they really don't know on a week-to-week basis if Lester will be able to go. Here's a big hole. Mike McGee over the 45-yard line.
Number 36.
Has that breakaway speed we were talking about. Willie Edwards and Darrell Whitmore there to make the stop. The longest run from scrimmage for the Falcons.
Darrell Whitmore and Willie Edwards.
That backside linebacker has to slow his motor down. He's responsible for that cutback and has to sit right in that hole. That's just something that comes with a little bit of maturity.
Take a look at number 4 out there for West Virginia. That's inside linebacker Steve Grant, a true freshman out of Miami, Florida. In all likelihood, he'll be the only freshman not redshirted in this year's class. Dakin, the pressure is on, and Turnbull's got him. Turnbull's been there all afternoon with the tremendous pressure from the outside. As mentioned, physically, just a tough character to handle. 6 feet 5 inches tall, 234 pounds, long legs, long arms, great vertical leap. Like a snake, he wrapped up Dakin and pushed him back. That's an 8-yard loss. Second down and 18 from the Falcon 40.
Coach Kurlavis said he has the potential to be one of the best outside linebackers in West Virginia history.
They'll show the shotgun on second down and long. And the inside handoff goes to McGee. Tripped up there.
Mike McGee, the ball carrier.
Jim Gray in at nose guard for WVU. Jim's another player that the WVU coaching staff is very high on. You mentioned Turnbull. Gray is a red-shirted freshman out of New Jersey. And they expect big things from him.
I was at practice last week, and Steve Grant made a tackle on the kickoff. It made me crunch, Tony.
They get back 5 yards on the play. Third down and 13. Again, good defensive job by the Mountaineers. Lawrence Drumgoole was there. Tight end Kyle Hockman, the intended receiver. And Dakin again thrown to the ground by, guess who? Ronaldo Turnbull.
This is a straight drop back, and West Virginia is a man coverage, and just an absolute perfect coverage. Great play.
West Virginia defense now is full of reserves. So Don Nealon up by 31 points with 11 minutes to go here in the second quarter has begun to substitute freely. Mountaineers have already botched up 2 punt attempts by Bowling Green. Shale will get this one off. Shanked off the right side. No return as Bell lets it roll out at the 12-yard line. So the Mountaineer offense will take it 1st and 10 from their own 12-yard line, leading it 31-0, 10:55 to go. Major Harris has built up a 31-0 lead for this WVU team from the Mountaineer 12-yard line. Dave Kinsey coming over, defensive tackle. A.B. Brown back into the game for West Virginia. A.B. was spelled in the last series by Under Johnson. We have yet to see Eugene Napoleon, but I'm sure by game's end we will see Eugene Napoleon, the junior out of Jersey City, New Jersey.
Milton Redwine in the game, one of the smaller players on West Virginia offensive line, 300 pounds.
He's another guy that seems as though he's been around for years.
How would you like to feed him?
No thanks. 1-yard loss at 2nd and 11. Darrell Mitchell, second grab of the afternoon, brings it up to the 20-yard line. That'll bring up a 3rd down and 2. Doug Van Fossen, outside linebacker, and Andy Maines, the inside linebacker, coming over to make the stop. Darrell Mitchell, one of 3 WVU players who was married in the offseason. That brings the total number of married players up to 4. Rick Phillips has been married for a couple of years, WVU's left tackle.
Bo Orlando, his lovely wife, Mary.
That's right. Dale Wolfley also married. Here's the Major. First down, West Virginia, as Harris makes a broken play. Look good. Andy Maines over there again to make the stop.
Major's the kind of quarterback that gives defensive coordinators nightmares. I mean, you only have 2 days to practice and get ready for this guy. You have to put in the wishbone, the option, the drop back pass. There's so many different facets that he can do, it's awful difficult to prepare for.
Is there any way to prepare for a quarterback like Harris, who seems as though he is so, you know, such a great athlete when it comes to the run? I mean, how do you prepare for something like that? I don't think Harris knows what he's going to do, let alone how do you prepare for it?
I remember when we went out to Oklahoma, the week of preparation, it's awful difficult to simulate that look and that speed, and that's one thing that defensive have problems with.
Ball starts, offense, repeat, first down.
Left side of that WVU offensive line, left early. That'll bring the Mountaineers back 5 yards, first down and 15 from the 18-yard line. Major Harris, 4 of 5 passing for 52 yards, the option. Harris has the first down. Knocked out of bounds at the 35-yard line. He needed the 34 for the first down, so the penalty quickly made up. Tony McCorvey, left cornerback, over there to make the stop.
Major coming down the line on the option, sees the seam, and just uses his athletic ability. Just a great athlete, and he'll be an impact player.
I think you'd probably say he is the impact
No
player.
question about that.
Mountaineers with the first down. Line up 2 receivers to the right side. Harris 4 of 5 so far this afternoon. Make it 5 of 6. Whip. They're going to say incomplete. Grantis Bell doesn't like the call. Ball came in there low, so they're calling it as a trap. Doug Van Fossen, the inside linebacker, was guarding Bell and curled it at the 45-yard line.
2.
Too close to call, but it was down there low. So they'll bring up second down and 10. 8 minutes and 54 seconds to go, first half of action. Again the option, and again Harris. Harris to midfield. The Major at the 30-yard line. Mike Holmes, the right quarterback, finally got a hold of Harris. But not before Major danced it down inside Bowling Green territory. They'll spot it at the 28-yard line.
The whirly-bird option. Major spins out, and what that does, it holds those linebackers and freezes them so they can't get to the perimeter. Then it's just a foot race and great athletic ability by Major.
Terry Wilson, the last line of defense at free safety to make the stop. Here's the fullback. WVU's Craig Taylor, who's already has one touchdown today, pushed out of bounds there by Kyle Kramer, but that's another first down for the Mountaineers. It's almost like a scrimmage.
Not only Major being an impact player, but number 57, Kevin Koken, the person that offensive line is centered around, is one of the great offensive centers that West Virginia's had.
Aaron Evans inside the 5-yard line. Sophomore out of Richmond, Virginia. He'll share playing time as the number 2 fullback this season with Rico Tyler. And again, John, you mentioned it. What West Virginia is having success doing is showing them that option, running to the outside, and then boom, they'll put it right down into the middle. Tough for a defense to know what's ahead.
That's right.
Whistles blow, timeout is called. It will be charged to Bowling Green. 8 minutes and 9 seconds remain here in the second quarter of play, with West Virginia leading it 31-0.
If you look back in the history books a little bit, every bowl team that West Virginia's had has been centered around a great center. You had Bill Legg over the last few bowls, Al Gluhusky in the Peach Bowl, and now Kevin Koken.
And the same can be said when West Virginia has had a strong quarterback. West Virginia has had successful teams. Oliver Luck, Jeff Hostetler, and then the '84 season, Kevin White, who was underestimated for ability, came up and did a great job. It was White that engineered the victories over Penn State, Boston College, and then the Bluebonnet Bowl victory over Texas Christian. Speaking of Ollie Luck, I'm sure our listeners would like to know what Ollie is up to. He'll be getting married here this month.
Yeah, Oliver's coming in October. He's over in Germany right now. He was on an internship with 6 months in a college out there studying international law. and 6 months working in a firm. He'll be coming over in October 22nd, I think, is to get married, and my wife and I are going to go down and visit him.
And he'll be living down in Houston, is that right?
I have heard some rumors that he may be looking in a political future in West Virginia.
What about that? Definitely the season for politics, with the general election coming up in November. The Mountaineers have brought it down to the 3-yard line. It'll be 1st and goal from the 3. Rico Tyler in motion. A.B. Brown will lose on the play. Knocked down to the 4-yard line.
A.B. Brown carrying the ball.
Keith Pace, reserve inside linebacker,
Number 45.
got a hold of Brown and wouldn't let go. He'll lose a yard on the play. Sounds to me as though that official has left his microphone on.
Have you ever known those things to work, Tony? I mean, every pro game, every college game.
The one game that it's working, he kept it on. So we're hearing everything. 2nd and goal from the 4. Harris with the toss. This is Brown, and again, knocked down for a loss at the 5-yard line. Terry Wilson, the free safety, coming over.
Terry Wilson makes the stop. Loss of 1.
They feel their free safety, number 21, Kyle Kramer, will be a pro prospect. A 4.5 speed, excellent feel for the ball.
Another yard loss, so it's 3rd down and goal. And so what looked to be another West Virginia touchdown may have to be settled for a field goal. Eugene Napoleon in. Put it on the board, the Harris touchdown keep. He makes it look so simple, like a surgeon preparing to make an incision. Where should I go in?
Play action pass, and it's awful difficult for those inside linebackers to fly out of there before they can make their read. It's a foot race to the end zone, and it's all over but the shout.
And credit should be given there to Aaron Evans, the Mountaineer fullback, who made the last key hit.
He was standing in the end zone all alone.
37-0 West Virginia, 6:49 to go. Make it 38. And the Mountaineers beating up on the Falcons. Major Harris has racked up 69 yards rushing. He scored the touchdown to give the Mountaineers a 38-0 lead. The long gainer in that series for the Mountaineers was a 37-yard run by Harris, and he brought it in from 5 yards away for the score. This is Reggie Thornton from the 10-yard line. Crosses over the 25.
Return to kickoff.
Zippy Shear, along with Darren Fulton, there to make the stop. Theron Ellis, number 66, also coming over.
Number 42, Zippy Shear. And number 23, Darren.
Bowling Green has been into West Virginia territory just once this afternoon. A look at the numbers. 8 yards per play, using up about 4 minutes of clock time. Dakin, whose strength is passing, is struggling through the air this afternoon. The tailback is McGee. Lonnie Brockman, Scott Summits there to make the hit.
A great job filling in on a play by the young freshman, Steve Grant, number 4. Kind of a strange number for a linebacker, isn't it?
It is. I was wondering the same thing. I guess that's the number that he wore in high school, and it was available. So they said, fine, you can have it if you want it.
Coach Nealon says he's going to be a great one. Doesn't know where he's going yet, just hits you when he gets there.
So far, that's working. Steve Grant and Eric Lester at the inside linebacker positions. 1-yard pickup, 2nd down and 9. Back into the far side, and he's got Reggie Thornton.
Rich Dakin's pass.
1st down for the Falcons. Darrell Whitmore, free safety, over there to knock him out of bounds.
1st down, Bowling Green.
Thornton is considered the premier receiver on this Bowling Green team. As mentioned, led the club with 47 catches a year ago.
You got contact with the press box.
And again, Dakin will throw. Going deep. He's got Ron Hurd. A flag comes down. Darren Fulton was in on the coverage. And it'll be an interference call. Hurd, with the great speed we were talking about, got by Darren Fulton. Ball came in. Fulton got the hand in, but apparently too early.
I mean, this guy runs a 4.2540. Just flat out speed. Darrell was beaten a little bit, made a good adjustment to the ball. Looked like a good strip from up here.
Pass interference against the defense. Automatic first down.
So the Falcons will come into West Virginia territory thanks to the penalty. They'll bring it to the 39-yard line. 5:55 to go, second quarter of play. Mark Bongers, reserve flanker, into the Falcon lineup for the first time this afternoon. Ball carrier is Mike McGee.
Mike McGee carry.
Spun down and brought under by Steve Grant, freshman out of Miami, Florida. Grant caught the eyes of the WVU coaches right from the start of fall practice. He, along with another freshman named Boris Graham, made some hard hits first couple days in pads, and they said, wow, watch out for these guys.
Probably the first play.
And one of the big scrimmages that brought an end to two-a-day practices, Grant intercepted a pass, ran it back for 20 yards. Couple-yard pickup, second down and 8, pressure on Dakin. And he scoots one on the ground, intended over there. Ron Hurd. That'll bring up third down and 8.
It's awful difficult for a quarterback to keep his poise when you're down 38-0 and within the first half, and it's going to be a long day for Dakin.
As you can see, 4 of 15. He came into the ball game with a 57% completion ratio, but not today. This time he hits Ron Hurd at the 30-yard line. That's very close to the first down, and now a flag goes down. Back over where Dakin was, it'll be a personal foul, roughing the passer, so a big completion plus the penalty will really help Bowling Green out here.
Against the defense, 15 yards from the end of the completion. First down.
So they had the first down on the throw to Hurd, and now they'll tack 15 more yards on, and that'll bring it all the way down to the WVU 15-yard line.
Number 59, Eric Lester, getting the signals from Coach Shaw, and he'll use a variation of hand signals to call the defenses.
Falcons have their first legitimate chance at scoring here this afternoon. First and 10 from the 15. The fullback is Daniels. And he's wrapped up by nose guard Scott Summits and inside linebacker Steve Grant again around the football. Boy, I'm telling you, watch number 4 for the Mountaineers. He's been all over the field this afternoon. His first game as a Mountaineer. Last time this year he was playing as a senior in high school. And now he's got over 50,000 watching him here at Mountaineer Field. 2-yard pickup by the fullback Daniels. Second down and 8 from the 13. Here's the pressure, timing pattern. Batted away by Fulton. Again, it was that matchup between Ron Hurd and Darren Fulton. The last time they went head-to-head, it resulted in an interference penalty, but this time Fulton backpedaling to slap the ball out.
Looks like at Bowling Green still running Coach Nealon's play as a number of years ago. A great job by Darrell.
Well thrown ball, but Fulton got his hand in on it. That's the exact play that West Virginia scored on. The 6-yard toss to Reggie Rembert down the other side of the field.
I heard Coach Nealon still has his picture up there in the locker room.
Yeah, some big sideburns on there.
A lot more hair.
Looking real nice. Third down and 8, a big play for the WVU defense. That's Thornton in motion. Again, they try the outside, and again, They work it as a completion out there to Thornton down at the 1-yard line. Darrell Whitmore on the coverage for the Mountaineers.
Out of bounds at the 1 by Lawrence Russell and Darrell Whitmore.
West Virginia knew all about Reggie Thornton coming into this one.
At the West Virginia 1.
They were worried about Thornton. They were worried about Ron Hurd. First down and goal from the 1-yard line. Mountaineers lead at 38-zip. On the wishbone. No signal yet. And they did not get in there. That was the fullback, Sean Daniels.
Chris Parker makes a great play. Had great punch that time. Came up through and made the big play.
Nose of that football is just a matter of an inch or two away from the end zone. And again, they do not get in. That'll bring up third down and goal. And again, they went to the fullback, Daniels. Great surge by that West Virginia defensive front.
Those two middle guards' objective is to keep their noses down on the ground and get low and bust those seams. Have done a great job. Now remember, Bowling Green doesn't like to put that ball on the perimeter. Let's see what happens.
We'll get another crack at it. Same formation from the bone. This time they get it in there. Mike McGee breaks the shutout with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to go. McGee from 1 yard away, but give it to that West Virginia defense that held back 2 attempted dives by the fullback. So a big completion to Ron Hurd, aided by a 15-yard roughing the passer penalty, puts Bowling Green in great position, and they convert. Jason Zeller, extra point attempt is good, and the Falcons trail it by 31 points. It's 38-7 with 2:35 to go here in quarter number 2. Mike McGee, the leading ground gainer for Bowling Green, 11 carries, 40 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Are open. Stop by for your favorite WVU souvenirs. All proceeds provide support for scholarships of WVU student athletes.
Reggie Rembert puts the helmet on, and he'll go back as a kick return man for the Mountaineers.
How would you like to be about a 5'10" free safety, Tony? And this big guy, 6'6", comes flying by you on a post pattern.
You know, not only the height, it's the speed that they say is so scary, and the way he runs. Talking to Bo Orlando, he said he was amazed the first couple of times he covered Reggie Rembert in practice, the fact that he's running at you, and it looks like he's going in slow motion because he takes these long, graceful steps, and before you know it, you're looking behind you, and there he goes.
If it were me, it would be chasing, not racing.
Take a look at the Bowling Green scoring drive. 12 plays and 72 yards, 4 minutes and 14 seconds, aided by that 15-yard roughing the passer penalty.
Number 6, Jason Zeller.
Reggie Rembert is the deep man for the Mountaineers.
The deep receiver for the Mountaineers.
Coach Wallace says the kickoff returns objective is to get the ball out through the 35. So let's see what happens.
The up men are Andre Johnson and Eugene Napoleon. That's Jason Zeller, nicknamed Fuzzy Zeller, after the successful golfer on the Pro Tour. Johnson from the 19-yard line. Here comes Under over the hole. Penalty marker down.
Under Johnson returned the kickoff. There's a flag on the play. Stop made by number 28.
Johnson brings it to the 38-yard line, but let's sort out the penalty. It will go against West Virginia. So they'll mark it off from the 38.
Holding against the receiving team during the run back. 10-yard penalty. First down.
So they'll bring it back to the 28-yard line. That's where West Virginia's offense will start from. 1st and 10 from the 28. Make it the 25. So Johnson's run back went to the 35-yard line, and they bring it back 10 yards.
This will be a great opportunity for some young players to gain some valuable experience on that offensive line.
Harris to Rembert. And he's out just shy of the 30-yard line. Tony McCorvey, the left cornerback there.
Number 64, Dale Wolfley. His brother, Ronnie, playing for NFL right now. I heard he called West Virginia this week to talk about special teams.
Yep, they put him over the speakerphone, and he gave an inspirational speech on just how important special teams are. And the Mountaineers apparently took it to heart because they have been involved in 2 blocked punts this afternoon. Harris up to the 35-yard line. Dale Wolfley's out there on the Mountaineer offensive line, along with Milton Redwine, Jeff Price, John Stroya. So several of the regulars are not in there.
Dale's mother, Esther, a big Mountaineer fan.
Makes the trips up from Orchard Park, New York. She makes a weekend out of it, provided that the Pittsburgh Steelers are home. So you can watch the Mountaineer game on Saturday and then drive to Pittsburgh to watch son Craig play on Sundays.
Keeps her busy.
Measuring for the first down. Got that chain out there, pulled taut.
How would you like that Thanksgiving dinner? Craig Wolfley, Ron Wolfley, and Dale Wolfley. You'd have to eat quick.
Touchdown, West Virginia.
The question is not how many pounds the turkey would be, how many turkeys. Just shy of that first down, the nose of that football to the 35-yard line. As one of the Mountaineer twirlers prepares for the halftime festivities. 2 minutes and 9 seconds to go here in the first half. Again, the option. But Harris this time looks to throw. Rembert has it. Down to the 32-yard line in Bowling Green territory. Terry Wilson, the strong safety, trying to keep up there with Rembert, but he ran the down and across and was wide open. Harris hit him beautifully.
This is what Coach Holliday talked about this week. It's awful difficult for a free safety to get involved in run support when he has to cover somebody. And that's exactly what happened. Major came down the line on the option, dropped off, and hit Reggie.
The option toss goes to Under Johnson. Knocked out to the 30-yard line. So a 2-yard gain. It'll bring up 2nd down and 8. Alan Smith over to make the stop for Bowling Green. Under Johnson gained 616 yards a year ago. Scored 4 touchdowns. His longest run from scrimmage, a 26-yarder.
Number 51, Jeff Price, in there for Kevin Koken. Good size and strength, and was a walk-on.
Mountaineer center of the future is Jeff Price. Nowhere to go for Under Johnson. Back to the line of scrimmage. Outside linebacker Toy Eason gave him the bear hug and threw him down.
Timeout. West Virginia, that is their first timeout.
So the Mountaineers will stop the clock with 1 minute and 38 seconds to go here in the second quarter of play. WVU leads it 38-7.
The new Omni turf is just simply beautiful, isn't it, Tony?
It really is. It's a darker shade of green than the old AstroTurf surface. And besides aesthetics, it is said to be much better to play on.
Although the players did tell me it's very abrasive, almost like falling on sandpaper.
Yes, it is. The majority of the skilled players you see out there for West Virginia will be wrapped up at the elbows because it is a very abrasive fiber. If they roll on it, they will get cut up.
Danny Nealon, the equipment manager, told me that the water just runs off it just simply great.
3rd down and 8 from the 30-yard line. That's Jamie Lamont in motion. Harris to Bell. Just over the fingertips. Terry Wilson, the free safety, was beat. Bell did get behind him, but the pass just scooted over his fingertips. That'll bring up 4th down, and Charlie Bauman is out.
Now, Charlie has kicked a 60-yarder in practice, and remember a couple years ago in the Blue Gold game, he did kick a 55-yarder.
This one will be from 47 yards away. It would be his career long at West Virginia. It's long enough. It's good. Bauman from 47 yards away. His second field goal of the afternoon. And that's the best he's ever booted it as a Mountaineers. 41-7. West Virginia has been on top from the outset. There's Mike Wallace with Bauman. As John was mentioning, Mike Wallace has been given the charge of the WVU special teams. They were not happy with what they got last year as far as kickoff returns. Some key kickoff returns went by the wayside. If you'll remember the Penn State game, after West Virginia had taken the lead in the 4th quarter, Penn State brought a kickoff return up to the 40-yard line. And then there were a couple of kickoff returns for sizable gains in the Syracuse game. And they wanted that to stop immediately, so they put Mike Wallace in charge of the WVU special teams.
Now, not only is Charlie a fine kicker, but he's a fine young man. You know, the majority of kickers are always a little bit dingy, you know.
You played with one, Woodside, right?
Yeah, oh, there was no doubt. He'd wear checkered shoes and all kind of crazy things. He was a little bit different.
Charlie spent the offseason going across the nation teaching at kicking camps. He's a friend of former Washington Redskin place kicker Mark Mosley. And so he worked on his game while teaching kids how to kick during the summer months. He went to the same high school, Erie Cathedral Prep, that Pitt offensive lineman Mark Stepnowski went to. They're close friends, and they also got together during the offseason to stay in shape playing basketball.
He was a special teams champion last year against Pitt, Boston College, and Rutgers.
And by all means, he's on his way to doing it here again today. This one a squib kick by Bauman, taken back at the 30-yard line by one of the up men. Brought up to the 40.
Number 40,
Ron Viscount, who's the starting fullback for Bowling Green, bringing it upfield. Theron Ellis, number 66, there to make the stop. There's a good look at Theron. Moved from the outside to inside linebacker position this season. The loss of Darnell Warren, and then the injury to Ted Kester. And they needed some help at inside linebacker, so they brought Ellis over, and he's made a great transition from the 41-yard line. Looks as though Dakin is checking off at the line. Badly thrown ball intended over there for Ken Rankin. David Lockwood, senior out of Media, Pennsylvania, for the Mountaineers on the coverage. Rankin, the intended receiver on that play, sat out all of last season because of a knee injury. Came back in spring ball, still was not ready to go through contact, but went through the running portion of spring practice, and they feel he's back. He's another great athlete on this Bowling Green team, a two-sport performer. In fact, he holds the school's long jump record with a leap of 25 feet 7 inches. Second down and 10. Intended receiver over there, Charles Edgerton, and Theron Ellis back on the play. Once again, he was open there, John. The ball was just poorly thrown.
Just great pressure by the West Virginia defense, and Coach Karlavich told me that Ronaldo Turnbull has the greatest first step he's ever seen. Now, whatever that means, I don't know, but he said he has the best first step he's ever seen.
And Ronaldo is out there once again, playing on the right side of the Mountaineer defensive line. It's third down and 10. Dakin to Rankin. First down for Bowling Green. That's Rankin's first catch in a couple of years. Bowling Green will go without the huddle. 1 minute and 3 seconds to go here in the second quarter of play. West Virginia commanding this one, 41-7. Intended over there for Edgerton, and again, Theron Ellis making the stop.
West Virginia in a man coverage that time, and T. Ellis made a great play. It's awful difficult for a middle linebacker to cover a back, and he did a great job.
Under a minute to go here in what has been a all West Virginia first half. Delayed draw goes to Edgerton. He's tripped up. Skip Fuller, the nose guard for the Mountaineers, able to knock Edgerton off balance, and Theron Ellis there to finish him off.
Coach Shaw has said that when you move an outside linebacker to inside linebacker, in his experience, it hasn't been very successful. T moving this fall because of some position changes has done a great job.
Dakin completes over the middle. That's his tight end, Kyle Hockman. That'll be another first down as the Falcons working on the clock. 27 seconds remain here in the second quarter. Clock stops on the completion for the first down. So Bowling Green knocking on the door again, looking for their second score. Looking over there for Reggie Thornton, and apparently some miscommunication as to what the route was, as Dakin threw the boundary and Thornton had not made a break over there. David Lockwood over on the coverage.
Number 80, Kyle Hockman, is a very good player. Kind of reminds you of the Mark Rao type guy, 6'3", 225 pounds, was a transfer from NC State. He has real good hands. Last year in a Penn State game had 7 or 8 interceptions. Receptions, I might say.
Yeah. 7 or 8 interceptions. He should have been on the other side of the ball.
Timeout.
You know, speaking of Hockman, as the Mountaineers call a timeout.
Second timeout.
Hockman was a tremendous high school player in the state of Ohio. He played for his dad, and
that's a great player.
Well, I'll tell you what, he's without his dad's help or not, Hockman set an all-time Ohio high school record with 156 receptions. No other high school player in Ohio has ever caught that many high school or passes in a high school career. Well, Kyle Hockman has his name in the Ohio record book. With 20 seconds to go here in the first half of play, Don Nealon has taken the headsets off. And I'm sure, headsets or not, he wants to see his defensive unit hold here and not allow a late touchdown.
It would really be a shame, Tony, if we let him slide in here.
Timeout was taken there by the Falcons as head coach Mo Ankney in his 3rd season with the club goes over some details with quarterback Rich Dakin. You can see that Bowling Green is a predominantly pass-oriented team.
At this point, they really don't have much choice. Down 41-7. Like we said in the introduction, we would see the ball 40 or 50 times a day. We're going to see it 60, 65 times a day.
And the main reason being that they've got behind so far so early. Second down and 10 from the West Virginia 17-yard line. Ball hauled in there by the tight end Hockman. Brought down by Zippy Shear. And the Falcons will use another timeout. They'll have 1 remaining with 14 seconds to go here in the first half. The man with his hand on his chin is the Bowling Green head coach, Mo Ankney, in his 3rd season with the club. 2 years he's brought them to a 10-win, 12-loss record. A season ago, Bowling Green finished up with a 5-6 mark. That was tied for, good enough for a tie of 2nd place in the Mid-American Conference.
The MAC Conference has always been known to play good, solid football, particularly Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio. Some awful good coaches have come out of those 2 schools. Needless to say, Don Nealon, right?
Well, Don Nealon, Bo Schembeckler was a one-time assistant at Bowling Green. You can go down the list. Larry Smith, the USC head coach, was with Nealon at Bowling Green. And that's where Mo Ankney got his start. He followed around Larry Smith as Smith was making his steps into the coaching hierarchy, and Mo Ankney was the team's defensive coordinator.
This week,
made stops, at Tulane, Ball State, Arizona. Then when the head coaching job came up at Bowling Green, when Denny Stoltz left for San Diego State, Ankney came in and came back to the alma mater. 3rd down and 6. You can expect pressure here from West Virginia with 14 seconds to go in the half. Timing pattern. Thornton, the intended receiver, and playing the tough coverage for the Mountaineers.
Again, Coach Shaw using that philosophy that he has, go get them. Both linebackers blitz, threw the timing off the pattern. They didn't have time to set it up.
That was David Lockwood back on the coverage. Jason Zeller will come on to try the field goal with 11 seconds to go here in the first half of play. They'll spot it at the 20-yard line, so a 30-yard attempt for Zeller. It is no good. Zeller misses from 30 yards away, and the WVU defense holds. 41-7 with 6 seconds to go here in the second quarter. That's a big emotional boost for those defenders out there. They had their backs up to that goal line, and they did not allow the score.
You know, I read this week Coach Ankey's objectives for the season, and one of them was to beat Toledo. I don't know, does Toledo have a great team? Or?
Well, I guess when you get in that Mid-American Conference, they say it is a conference full of overall depth. Central Michigan expected to have a good team this year. Kent State has a good team. Dick Crum, former coach at North Carolina, has taken over at Kent State. 6 seconds to go. 1st and 10, and the Mountaineers will run it out. Aaron Evans up to the 22-yard line, and that will do it. Halftime has arrived. The WVU Mountaineers pounding the Bowling Green Falcons through the first 2 quarters. It's 41-7 West Virginia.
And welcome back to Mountaineer Field in Morgantown. As you can see, it has been an all West Virginia first half of action. The Mountaineers getting off to a great start. A bobbled punt. West Virginia scored on it with a Willie Edwards conversion in the end zone. And West Virginia was on top 7-0, 41-7. And John Garcia, this is exactly what West Virginia fans were hoping for. The Mountaineers did not seem to lose a beat from their last appearance in the Sun Bowl.
No question about it, Tony. From the opening play, what we had talked about is go in, dominate, play good special teams, and would have an easy time. Give these kids confidence to the fourth quarter. It would have been a dogfight. It's going to be a long half for Bowling Green.
WVU's senior tailback A.B. Brown went right to work for the Mountaineers. He's healthy this season, and he showed us right from the start. Brown from 4 yards away. John, he just took it to the outside, and there was no one there to do anything about it.
Well, like we said, Tony, it was just a foot race. A.B. with his great speed, option came down. There's no question about it.
And the fullback, Craig Taylor, also got into the hit parade, this one from 9 yards away.
The offensive line doing a great job, and Taylor coming up with a 10-yard run.
What can we expect to see in the second half from the Mountaineers? Well, probably plenty of reserves. West Virginia's got this one on top, 41-7. Maybe a little Major Harris, but definitely Greg Jones, the transfer out of Miami.
No question about that. It's all going to depend upon what Coach Nealon got out of the first half that last year. He may want to go with Major one more series, but we're anxious to find out.
41-7, West Virginia leads it. Stay tuned. Second half action coming up on the Mountaineer Sports Network.